In a society that often equates physical beauty and perfection with holiness, the concept of honoring your body can be a challenging and misunderstood one, especially when it comes to interpreting the teachings of the Bible. However, a deeper dive into the scriptures reveals a far more nuanced and profound understanding of how we are called to care for the physical vessel that houses our soul. At the very heart of the biblical perspective on the body lies the fundamental truth that we are created in the image of God. Genesis 1 verse 27 states, "So God created mankind in his own image, in the image of God he created them, male and female he created them." This means that our bodies are not mere physical containers, but sacred vessels imbued with the divine imprint of our Creator. Our physical form is not something to be despised or ashamed of, but rather to be honored and cherished as a reflection of the divine. Yet, the Bible also acknowledges the brokenness and imperfection that exists within the human condition. Romans 3 verse 23 declares, "For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God." This understanding of our fallen nature is crucial in shaping a biblical perspective on how we are to honor our bodies. It means that we cannot approach the care and stewardship of our physical selves with an unrealistic expectation of perfection or a relentless pursuit of physical ideals. Instead, the Bible calls us to a more holistic and compassionate approach to our bodies. 1 Corinthians 6 verses 19 to 20 reminds us, "Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own, you were bought at a price. Therefore honor God with your bodies." This passage emphasizes that our bodies are not our own, but rather sacred spaces that have been entrusted to us by God. The call to honor God with your bodies is not a mandate for physical perfection, but rather a challenge to steward our physical selves in a way that reflects the divine purpose for which we were created. This means that honoring our bodies is not about achieving a certain aesthetic or conforming to societal standards of beauty. Rather, it is about cultivating an attitude of reverence, gratitude, and care for the physical form that has been entrusted to us. It is about acknowledging the inherent worth and dignity of our bodies, regardless of their size, shape, or appearance. One of the ways the Bible encourages us to honor our bodies is through the practice of self-care. 1 Corinthians 9 verse 27 states, "But I discipline my body and keep it under control, lest after preaching to others I myself should be disqualified." This passage suggests that caring for our physical well-being is not only a matter of personal responsibility, but also a spiritual discipline that can help us to remain faithful to our calling. This concept of self-care is often misunderstood, with many Christians equating it with self-indulgence or a lack of spiritual discipline. However, the Bible's perspective on self-care is rooted in the understanding that our physical, emotional, and mental well-being are all interconnected. By tending to our bodies with compassion and wisdom, we are better equipped to fulfill our spiritual responsibilities and serve others with greater effectiveness. This might involve simple practices like getting adequate sleep, eating nourishing foods, and engaging in regular exercise. It might also involve more intentional self-care activities like practicing mindfulness, seeking counseling or therapy when needed, and taking periodic rest and rejuvenation. The key is to approach these practices with a spirit of stewardship and gratitude, rather than with a preoccupation with physical perfection or a desire for self-indulgence. Another crucial aspect of honoring our bodies, as outlined in the Bible, is the way we relate to our sexuality and intimate relationships. In a culture that often reduces sexuality to a mere physical act or a source of temptation, the Bible offers a more holistic and sacred understanding of our sexual nature. Genesis 2 verse 24 states, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh." This passage suggests that the physical and emotional intimacy of marriage is a sacred union, intended to reflect the unity and love between Christ and the Church. Far from being something to be ashamed of or suppressed, our sexuality is a God-given gift to be celebrated and honored within the context of a committed, covenantal relationship. However, the Bible also cautions against the misuse or objectification of our bodies. 1 Thessalonians 4 verses 3 to 5 admonishes, "For this is the will of God, your sanctification, that you abstain from sexual immorality, that each one of you know how to control his own body in holiness and honor, not in the passion of lust like the Gentiles who do not know God. This passage reminds us that our bodies are not merely objects for our own gratification or the gratification of others, but rather sacred vessels to be treated with reverence and respect. This understanding of sexuality has profound implications for how we approach not only our own bodies, but also the bodies of others. It means that we are called to cultivate a culture of respect, consent, and mutual care, rather than one of exploitation or objectification. It means that we must be vigilant in protecting the vulnerable and standing up against any form of sexual abuse or violence. Furthermore, the Bible's teachings on the body have important implications for how we approach issues of physical health and disability. In a world that often values physical perfection and able-bodiedness, the Bible reminds us that our worth and dignity are not contingent on our physical condition. The story of the man born blind in John 9 is a powerful example of this. When the disciples asked Jesus, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" Jesus responded, "It was not that this man sinned, or his parents, but that the works of God might be displayed in him." This passage challenges the common assumption that physical disability or illness is a result of personal or familial sin, and instead affirms that even those with physical limitations are created in the image of God and have inherent worth and dignity. Similarly, the Bible's teachings on the resurrection of the body in 1 Corinthians 15 suggest that our physical form, even with all its imperfections, will one day be transformed and restored to its full glory. This hope offers profound comfort and encouragement to those who struggle with physical limitations or chronic illness, reminding them that their bodies are not forgotten or discarded by God, but rather are being actively redeemed and restored. In light of these biblical teachings, the call to honor your body takes on a deeper and more profound meaning. It is not about achieving physical perfection or conforming to societal ideals, but rather about cultivating a posture of reverence, gratitude, and care for the physical vessel that houses our immortal soul. It is about recognizing the inherent worth and dignity of our bodies, regardless of their size, shape, or appearance, and treating them with the respect and care that they deserve as sacred temples of the Holy Spirit. This call to honor our bodies has practical implications for how we approach issues of self-care, sexuality, and physical health. It means that we must be diligent in tending to our physical, emotional, and mental well-being, not out of a desire for self-indulgence, but out of a recognition of the profound spiritual significance of our bodies. It means that we must approach our sexuality with reverence and respect, honoring the sacredness of the physical and emotional intimacy that God has gifted us. And it means that we must extend this same posture of respect and care to all people, regardless of their physical condition or appearance. We must stand up against any form of discrimination, exploitation, or objectification, and instead cultivate a culture of mutual respect and care for one another's inherent dignity and worth. Ultimately, the biblical call to honor your body is not about achieving perfection or conforming to external standards, but rather about embracing the profound spiritual significance of our physical selves and stewarding them with reverence, gratitude, and care. It is a call to recognize the inherent worth and dignity of our bodies, and to treat them with the respect and care that they deserve as sacred vessels of the divine.